Light behind me a pain?
I love that. Them some hot girls on there, man. I was just looking at it. It's like, I don't know what year that was that we made that. It couldn't have been last year.
Yeah, it was like beginning of last year, I think.
Oh, okay.
Maybe the end of 2023, but it's still just over a year ago.
Yeah, I remember picking out the outfits. I was like, hey, it has to be flashy. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because we've already been chatting, but in my mind, this is what I saw, the kiddie pool. And you know, when you're like, oh, I'm just too big for the kiddie pool. And now you go graduated from the kiddie pool because you think you know how to swim. And now you go to the regular pool and then you swim out to the deep end. But when you're in there, you're like, wait, this is, you know, you thought you was ready.
Yeah.
Which we are ready. We're ready for change. But then it's like when you look back at the kiddie pool, it's too small. There's nowhere to go. And, you know, that's not exciting. It's only covering your feet, right? But then when you go into the deep end of the big pool, now you got like a lot of room to grow. And you're starting over, right? With what am I going to do next? Like, how am I going to navigate this and grow through this? And so we were just sitting there talking about like knowing what you want and even knowing like, am I really happy? And it's hard to say you're happy sometimes when you don't really know what you want next. Because even as a person that teaches vision boards, and I know all about vision boards, but I have not been able to do that in a while. I have not been able to do one for myself in a while. But you know, now as I'm pulling back layers, I'm in my intuitive anatomy class, and I'm starting to be able to say I want. And I had noticed that before I was having a difficulty figuring out what I want so that I could even say I want. Because I know there's people easily they can say, I want this and I want that. I want, you know, I want to change this, fix this. But I even shared with a friend of mine, there's things I had on my board. Like, Terry, you know how long it took me to buy a dryer. Last year, that was it's been almost a year. I was like, I need a new dryer. I waited until that dryer was gone. And then it was something else I wanted, an infusion machine. I had that picture of that infusion machine on my wall since December 2021. And so it's like, I think I'm ready for the infusion machine now. Like, it only took 4 years. So some things I hadn't really decided. And so I think now people might be feeling a little bit confused because they're like, well, what do I want? And, you know, you took a bunch of classes, you made new friends, you traveled, you did a bunch of stuff, but you're like, now what do I want? You know, because you're in the deep end of the pool.
Yes. Well, we were just chatting and I was just being made aware of is like sometimes when we don't know what we want, maybe what we need to do is make a list that says, I don't want this. So if I don't want that, then I want the opposite of that. And that is what I'm going to work for, you know? So for example, is I don't want my car to break down. So therefore, I want to have a reliable car. And if I want to have a reliable car, I want to have a car that I'm going to enjoy driving in. So then by looking at things that we don't want happening or whatever, then it can move us into that more positive outlook and say, well, this is what I want. And I want, you know, and if I'm going to drive a fancy car, then, hey, it's going to be red and it's going to, you know, have.
You hitting on stuff.
You know? So
Terry, no, I want a new car.
Yeah, I know you want a new car. So
it's interesting because I had just paid for my car and it's just finished being paid for, and I was in the mindset of, well, it's paid for. Be happy. And it's like, no, actually, you earned it, you paid for it, and you actually do want something better now. It's okay to actually want something better and to
Well,
actually
I want to go to Florida.
I think you should want that.
I'm not. I want to. I'm going to go to Florida.
I think
I'm coming to Florida.
it's cold.
You're my witness. I'm coming to Florida in 2025.
Tell them what the temperature is right now where you at.
It's minus 30 degrees Celsius here. So
It
that's
should
like
be,
about
it should be
that's about 25 below Fahrenheit.
It should be illegal.
That's what I said.
Because I think that's colder than I think that has to be colder than Germany. I knew Germany was cold.
Yeah. It is.
It has to be colder than Germany.
It's cold. I think it's colder than it was in Washington today.
Yeah. So I guess I'm just encouraging people to think about that, what they want. I feel like next weekend I'll do a vision board class. This week is the 26th, maybe February 3rd.
Yes, it's the 20th, so this coming weekend will be the 26th.
Yeah.
Day, yeah.
So I think I'll set for the 3rd. That I'll oh my God, what am I looking at? I'm looking at April. Okay. Okay, January, but close though. So on February 1st, I'm going to set a time to do a vision board class that if people want to participate with me, you'll see that up. It's actually Monday night, and we're going to post this tomorrow morning, Tuesday, because I have class this week and next week. So I'm not going to be able to be there at noon. So we're going to post this tomorrow at noon. But and then I'll make a flyer by the end of the week to show people like, hey, you want a vision board class? Let's get together. And we can discuss what I discussed on Heidi's show, which was the reputation goal and the different squares that you can fill in, because I do vision board a little bit differently. Terry does it with a vision quest. Basically, that's what you do with a vision quest.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm going to do it your way.
Yeah,
so,
actually.
So maybe get, if you're going to do that, just let people know what they need to have for their tools to bring, like pictures and stuff. Or what do you do?
No tools. It's just a seminar. And afterwards you can get the worksheets. I can give you the worksheets, and, but it's more seminar listening and understanding something new, because it's introducing a new way of thinking, which is, I'm going to say during the time of studying vision boards, I found the masculine way to be more specific and very targeted, and I think very useful.
Right.
Where a lot of the women's classes that I had seen were like, I want this, and a lot of sipping and a lot of wine. So, so this is like very goal oriented, very specific, and hitting the nine areas of your life for you to actually figure out, but then also a little bit of study on vibration, a little bit of study on emotion, and a little bit of study on removing self-limiting thoughts. And I might throw in might do a little theta in there. I might throw it in there, like to clear the mind or something like that. Maybe Terry can throw in a vision quest. Who knows? But it's going to be just maybe different from what most people have seen, because I created this class like I created the book. But all that to say, now is definitely a time, because I think a lot of people have been maybe focusing on the outside thoughts of what life is going to look like. And now it's like reclaim your thoughts so that you can decide for yourself what 2025 is going to look like.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I was saying to you, like I was saying to you earlier, we're all in different parts in our life. And for me, I'm just looking at manifesting and just seeing what's my next 6 months going to look like. What are my goals for the next 6 months? And it's wonderful to have goals for 5 years from now, but really, like it's the immediate future that I'm looking at. what are the goals that I want to, what is it that I want to achieve in the next 6 months? And so maybe it is, hey, I'm going to start writing that book. And when am I going to start writing that book? Well, okay, I'm going to start on the 28th of January and
And
saying,
that's the
okay,
difference.
then we put ourselves, we put a task on it, like, so maybe I go into my calendar and say, man, the 28th, I'm starting to write. And maybe it's just, like, oh, today I'm starting to write a book. What am I writing about? Like, it might be nothing significant, but it's still a start. I shouldn't say it's nothing, but it's starting. It's getting that momentum. And sometimes we just need a momentum. We need something to, put that fire under our ass, so to speak.
You gotta flex those small muscles first.
Yeah.
And build up the endurance.
Yeah.
Especially if you haven't been a dreamer in the past, then you got to start small and give yourself small things to work on. But what you just said, instead of 5 years, that's the difference between a vision board and a dream board. A vision board is 6 months to a year. Dream boards are 5, 10, 15, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think too, there's this perspective that you have where a person in their 20s and 30s and maybe even 40s, I think, there's a certain time where you feel like, oh my God, I got to get it done. And you feel the pressure of life where you're looking at your big picture and you want the changes and you're like, what do I do? But then for you, there's this, this whole other perspective, because at your age, like we discussed this too, like, it's like, no, I need to know what I'm doing now. Like even more of a fire because you're like, how much time do I have? I need to get it done now. And it's interesting too, because I remember meeting one of my aunts. Her husband told me, they were like, if you're going to do something big, you got to try to do it by the time you're 50. That's what he told me. And he was like, if it comes to financials and career and stuff, he was saying, because your physical health, that's when your physical health starts to decline. And so you got to be on the way up the scale. You got to be doing more. Now, I will say this, that's the perspective, not from someone who does energy healing or energy work. That's the perspective of a person, a regular person with a mindset of, 70 expire, 65, 70 year expire. And so now, like me, I am 50. I don't look 50 and I'm not going to try to act 50, but, so I'm going to be like, I'm going to want my peak to be up there where Terry is. And then it's like, okay. And so I'm still peaking. I'm still trying to break some barriers for myself. But I do appreciate when he told me that, because then that helped me light some fire for myself. Because we can begin to wander quite a bit.
Yeah.
Be a little bit aimless when we don't have people who think like that around us.
Well, and I will say, for my perspective, is I did have the house. I did have those things. I'm in a different stage in my life, but I'm also starting a new chapter in my life. I'm starting a new life. I have a new beginning. But so I'm just like taking baby steps. But so now it's like, okay, I don't know where I want to be in 10 years from now. So I want to know where I'm going to be in 6 months from now. And then from there, like I'll expand it from there. So it's a different perspective. And I think we go through these different perspectives at different times in our life. So we're constantly opening up to new parts of ourselves. So, we have to be aware of that and not, like I've been, like challenged over the last couple of weeks. Of course, it's been, really cold and all that stuff. So I've been sort of like cocooning inside. And so I'm thinking about all these things. What is it? Where am I going? What do I want to do? But like I said, I'm coming to Florida. I'm coming to Florida this year. I'm going to do, there's certain things. So I'm looking at it more within my immediate knowing rather than down the road.
Right. So I'll let you pull your cards and Let's
Yeah.
see. To see, we have these conversations before she pulls the cards, and just to see, like,
Okay.
intuitively.
I'm doing intuitive whispers oracle. That's I'm going to do another one, but no, this one is the one that came out to me. So one. Okay, this is just so cool. All right. So the first card I got was "Let this be your sign." Let this be your sign, and it is just the stairway. You know, like it's walking up, coming up on the stairway. I don't know if you can see how good you can see it. Um, so it's going towards the light, and I just actually had, before we came on, I had done a meditate. I'd been in my meditation class, and it was about the light, and it was just like going into going into the light and just taking those steps. And it's like, so this is the sign that, you know, we just take the first steps, and we don't necessarily, we can say what we need, what we're thinking, and maybe the goals that you have are just for what you need in the next few weeks, the next couple of months, without trying to look at those long term, what do I want from life, because things are changing so rapidly now. So then the next card is one next step. So it's just interesting that the steps are there, and it's one next step. So that's kind of cool. And then the 7 is the wisdom of the solar plexus, which is our will, right? So it's what we will, what is our will. So our will is just to take these next steps and see where it will take us. Maybe we don't have to look into that dream existence, because everything is changing. So let's work at the next few weeks, the next few months, and take the steps that we need to take to just get ourselves going. And I think this time of year can be sort of depressing for people. So we need to just make some little movements and know that you're going to create from the movements that you're going to make. You know, like those are those first steps that you need to take.
Wow, it's doing. It's really literally doing. Like, what are you going to do next? Here are some next steps. And so it's interesting because we're discussing how to get to that point where you see it and know what to do. So I found that pretty profound. Terry, I mean, I even think for you, what you do, the Akashic journeys,
Yeah,
that helps people figure out stuff like that too, right? Like, because you're looking at the lessons of the past,
mm-hmm.
and then saying,
where's your soul taking you? What is it? And so, like, what is the next step that I need to do on my soul's journey? And sometimes when we're open, it will show up for us. You know, we sometimes we think we have to create it, but maybe we just have to be and allow it to show up for ourselves.
right. Well, I don't have anything to add to that, because I think it's a pretty clear thing. I just want to encourage people that, you know, no matter what it said on The Simpsons or CNN or what so-and-so said, that you have it in you. And so let's work on getting to the root of what's inside of you, mm-hmm. to help you do it, be it, become it.
Do it, be it, and become it. Right.
And yeah. So, you know, I mean, that's what manifestation is, right? And then to help with the visualization process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm going to say something about visualization and clairvoyance and all of those things. We think that we have to have this picture, this solid picture in our head. It's more than that, because it is using the imagination. And if you can't see that solid picture, doesn't mean you can't visualize. You can take a picture from, I don't know, take a picture from a card and use that as your visualization. You're still going to get a message from it. You can imagine it in your mind. If I was going to be sitting on a beach in Florida, what would it feel like? What would be the heat? What would I see? What would I smell? What would I see and hear? And like, that's part of all visualization, because everything is taking place within our head, like within our mind, how we're seeing things. But it doesn't have to be necessarily that, you close your eyes and you get that picture, and you can. But if you don't, then just use your imagination, see what comes, see what you're going to bring forward, because that way we're getting in touch with that intuitive part of ourselves, and the clairvoyance that we have. We always think that it has to be a certain way, and then we don't, we discard other things. But maybe looking at and opening up to what else is in the field will make things a little bit clearer.
And I was taught that.
Oh, you're muted, Erica.
How? No, I'm not.
Maybe it's me.
Oh, so because I was taught that manifestation comes in three
I'm
parts.
going to come back, and it's probably me. I'll be.
So I was taught that manifestation comes in three parts. First, visually, then on paper, writing it down, and then actually doing it. So that's how I was taught that manifestation comes. And, there's also the power of saying things out loud, speaking things into existence. That is also a good thing as well. So this is what we're going to discuss, these different ways to get things done. And I'm looking forward to that class on the 1st of February. And if you're interested in having a class for your own group, then let me know. If you're interested in Terry taking you through an Akashic journey, I definitely encourage it, because the more you get to know, like, do you need to know all your past lives? No, but there's lessons, like these things will come up with clear visual lessons of a scenario, hit possibly a pain point where, this is what happened. What did you learn from that? What did you observe from a higher level of that experience that you could put into action into this life? And it's not to say like, oh, I was Isis in another life. It's more these lessons of that you don't want to keep repeating. There's things that you came here to learn. There's things that you maybe want to heal in your DNA, in your in your energy body, that you can just tap into. So it's a good opportunity to do these things, to get out of the kiddie pool and to get you some direction when it comes to what you're doing on the deep end, because the next big move is the ocean, right? Like if you're struggling on the deep end of the pool, you want to have the equipment you need to move on to the ocean, so we can get into bigger waters, bigger ideas. Because the more you think like, I know it all now, it's like, no, there's so much more. And Terry says it all the time, how she's learned one thing, and then like, I've learned all these things and taken all these classes, and we've had all these ideas that we've built, and then you knock the Legos down and you start over and you build a whole new, and you're like, wait, I never thought I was going to build, a multi-level castle compound when I was just starting out with the beginner Lego set, So this is what life is about, I believe.
Yeah. And I think we have to be brave and courageous within ourselves, is that we can do this. If we're not brave, if we don't take that that first step, we're not going to go anywhere. I mean, the most difficult thing is being stuck where you are. Like, take a step. Take that step. One next step. There you go. Those steps are important. Just do, whatever.
Right. And if you're wondering, this is the Soul Purpose Tuning Fork, 272.2 for the 8th chakra. So right up there, the Soul Purpose. And I think I like doing this when I'm online now, so that it's like, hey, if I can receive it and I can share it with other people, that who knows what'll come of it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if people can hear it, but I know some people can feel it. So that if you're just curious about what this is, there. I saw that online and I was like, oh yeah, I want that.
Is it purple?
It is it is purple.
Oh, cool. I want it.
Yeah, I go behind my son. It's funny because I collected the tuna forks, and so I'll like do it behind my son's ears. My cats will be looking, and one cat, he will just get right into it, like, and then my son, he actually laughs, and I'm like, what happened? It tickles, because he's on the spectrum. So I'm like, ooh, I wonder if I just do this maybe a couple of times a week, like maybe. Who knows what might happen? So I'm
going to give you an insight that I had the other day when if you ever do any, not only you, but if you do some cleansing in your house, is like we clean the air, but maybe what we have to do is go within the molecules of the wall, and also whether you're using sound or smudge or whatever, but even just your intention to allow the new frequency in between those molecules in the wall.
Yeah.
That's you're allowing new stuff in.
I see it as a prescription. So now I'm writing these prescriptions and sending them out.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that. And I got that from my friend Victoria, and she's in California, and she used to send me the Bach flower remedy prescriptions over from the Universal Pharmacy. And I was like, oh, amazing. So now that I'm doing my theta, I'm like, oh, I can include water elements. I can include chimes. I can include, these different aspects into my healing work. So yeah, I'm having lots of fun learning about, what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
Or what I'm allowed to do, however you want to put it, what the creator can use me for. So I definitely enjoy it. And I mean, that's why I call myself a conduit in the first place, because it's, only but through the energy of the creator sent through me that allows me to give it to other people. So I got another cat just sitting at the door. So
that's that tuning fork you're playing.
Yeah.
You're calling them all in.
This one is so interesting because he's just like, he looks like a puppet. All of them, they look like puppets to me. Like, so anyway, but this was great, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm glad. I'm sorry if it, is throwing people off. But one thing that I'm actually asking for, and I'm going to be working on myself tonight, is to make things feel less like work. That as I begin to be more busy, that it doesn't feel like busy work, but that I am not afraid of the things that are on my plate, that I'm not afraid of being more active, that I'm not afraid of awards, recognition, accolades, diploma, that I'm not afraid of achieving. Because I think somehow in there, they put these programs in us to fear success and to fear appreciation and to fear love and to fear abundance. And so we got to work on removing these blocks, because you think this is a natural, normal way to be, but there it is. It's programming, it's misinformation, it's
Exactly.
Things to hold you back from becoming the full version of yourself, this full powerful version of yourself. So we can't have that, y'all. We gotta undo that nonsense
Mm-hmm.
because it's your birthright.
Right.
Your birthright to be happy, to be abundant, to be successful. Don't go around believing that all that everything is evil, because the more you have, the more you can give. The more you know, the more you can share. We're not here to be gatekeepers. We're not here to starve. We're not here to suffer. We're here to show people the way out of suffering.
Yeah.
So that's what I got to say about that.
And I agree with you.
Yeah.
Totally.
So we're going to fly out because it is late at night, or it's kind of late at night.
Yeah.
Considering this, today I was up till 6 a.m. and then had class, but we're not repeating that lesson.
No.
I'll
You
take
learned the hard way.
Yeah. So it's been great. And thank you for showing up, Terry. And we're going to play this outro. Oh my God.
Have a wonderful week, everyone.
And I won't cut you off in the middle of you saying goodbye.
Goodbye.
You always hit the button so fast sometimes. I had a quick trigger finger. So you finished?
I'm finished.
Okay, she's
Have
finished.
a good week.
I'm finished. Y'all have a great week. You saw our contact information. Get in touch. Does it play? Oh, it just does. Okay. I guess
it's still recording.
Okay, so I guess it'll do it on its own. It'll process. All right.
Okay.